computer. Okay, quickly, let's go around the room. How's the last 2 weeks been? Give us a 30-second update. It becomes short now. Cool. 30-second update. It started at the top of my screen. Andrea.
Right. Hi. So 2 weeks has been great, actually. As of yesterday, I've officially pretty much finished my back end, so I can take a client right now.
Great.
So yes, I'm really excited about that.
Teresa.
Yeah, we had a busy 2 weeks with sports at school, so we have a few interested parties that's going to travel with us. So we are quite excited.
Brilliant. Odette.
I think the Formula One sports is slow compared to how my week went. But oddly enough, totally separate. I suppose it's just contacting people that I've always known. I'll have a new client soon. So totally divorced from what I'm currently doing.
Brilliant.
And it's a man. It's not a woman over 50 or 40.
Here we go. Well done. You see, things change. Jim.
Yeah, excuse me. The last 2 weeks actually been a bit of a breather for me. I went to that conference or that trade show just after we did our last talk, and yeah, did a bit of rehearsal on my script and everything. But the trade show wasn't quite what I was expecting there, so it didn't really generate much opportunities. But it was a chance to get out and chat to people. And then, the first 3 months of the year was pretty busy for me. I was going flat out, and I've sort of caught up with everything now. So I'm now sort of taking a breather. And the last 2 weeks, actually, because of the Easter weekend, gave me a bit of breathing space and time to reflect and get ready for the next 3 to 6 months.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Morning, George. We were worried about you. You weren't here.
Well, I
She had
didn't
maybe got
realise
the
it.
hours out.
I used the link for the 26th of March and I was waiting. I said, "So it's not like Kerry not to be started at 7." And then I thought, oh my God, where's the link for today?
Yeah. Okay.
So I
So
had to go to my Google Calendar.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
No problem. How's your last 2 weeks been?
Uh, Up and down, hectic and frustrating. But the good thing is I set a tag doing 30 conversations. Well, I did more than that. I did about 39 conversations. I did 3 talks, and through these talks, I learned a lot. The biggest thing that probably happened to me was I got an inquiry from a chap I did a website for exactly 4 years ago, 21. So 2022 we did the website in January 22. No, 4 years. And it was a company that had pivoted from being commercial shop fitters to doing domestic kitchens and stuff like that. I did a good website for a much improved website from what he had, but he wouldn't spend any money on marketing. And I says, well, don't expect too much. He says, you've got a good website and it's just like a brochure, but don't expect an awful lot. So he's come back saying, right, I really need to sort of redo it now because he's starting to deal with property developers and property investors, and he's got a new workshop now as well. So I started talking to him about how things had changed. I says, rather than just do a tweak here and there and add a few more things into the website, I think you should really be looking at what's happening in the world now. And it's important if you're dealing with people like that, property investors, property developers, that you've got a good presence online. So it was getting round to that. So we'd arranged a meeting last week, a very good meeting, but I'd sent him things before that explaining about what could be possible, why it was important to be visible to AI. And he was getting a bit excited about that. So and I've got another meeting with him at 1 o'clock today. I'd give them sort of rough figures, but I had a meeting with Rob
Yeah.
this week, so it's going to be a bit more than I sort of indicated to him. But he is excited about the concept and some of the other things that I had mentioned to him. So I think we've got a very, very good chance of getting a very good order
Yeah.
from him on that. And I've got other people. I did a talk on my 6 pathways of life, mainly goal setting program, but I just talked about one thing, but people being in a mess. And I related about what a mess could be. A mess could be your business is not being found online. You don't know what to do. You're all over the place. And I related it to that. So I said, I thought to myself, I could do a workshop on this. And I said, I'm going to be doing a workshop.
Cool.
And it's going to be a great idea. So put me down for that. So
There
that
we
was
go.
exciting.
Well done, George. All right, so let's move on. So for the month of April, we're going to be talking about the confidence gap. Some have lots of confidence, some don't. Okay. But where do we over deliver in our confidence out of fear? So this is a slightly different angle to when we look at confidence. Stop proving and start leading. So most business owners don't struggle with effort. Okay. We all put lots of effort in. We committed. We're really going to do it. But the question is, do we put it in the right place? So we're going to go from I need to prove my value to my value is already clear. And pause and think about that for a while. Let's be aware before we need to correct things. So what do we over deliver on? Not strategy, pattern. How often do we give more than what we've agreed to do? See some smiles there. Where we're giving more than is actually sustainable. Sometimes we start off and we like wow people, and then they think that's what they're going to get all the time. How often do we give more than that is necessary? We overcomplicate it. We add too much into it. Sometimes less is best. So over delivering is often driven by the fear of losing the client. I've got to do whatever I have to do. I don't want to lose this client. This client's going to be amazing. Yeah. Fear of not being enough. No, that one's a big one. Am I doing enough? Am I enough? Why would they work with me? Fear of conflict. What if they argue with me? What if they challenge me of what I'm offering them? How am I going to deal with it? And you start playing 15 different scenarios out in your head. How are you going to counteract their argument? Do we need approval? Do we need the potential client to approve us? Do we really have to have approval? Or are we not good enough? And that discomfort with pricing. How can I charge them that much? It's all just misdirected energy. Instead of worrying about that, worry about your delivery and how you actually deliver. So, what does it look like on the outside? That it internally creates Okay, so this is an important one because often we think it is one thing. Okay, and then what others see is completely different to what we deliver, what we feel internally. So on the inside, we sometimes feel resentment. What do I mean by resentment? Sorry, George is a bit small. What do I mean by resentment?
Well, I interpret that as you've done something over and above, like you've just mentioned, and then it isn't received with great acclaim or excitement, and then you become resented. You have resentment because you really put your effort into it, and it hasn't been recognized for what it should be.
Hasn't been seen. All, yeah. Burnout. How easy it is to burn out working on something. The blurred expectations. We don't even see what the real expectations are anymore. Because we can get so lost in what it is we're doing that we don't see what it truly is supposed to be. The underpricing cycles. We go through periods where we just underprice ourselves and then we realize it. And then we try and jump up the pricing. And then it starts all over again and we end up dropping the prices again. The loss of authority. You feel like it's out of your control. It doesn't feel like a leader anymore or a business owner anymore. Because you're chasing the approval of the client. What happens when we chase the approval of the client? Any guesses?
You're probably overcompensating on areas that you don't need to.
Not bad, yeah. There's another major big part here.
So I feel like you're giving ownership of your business to them.
Yes, now we're getting there. You're putting them in control. They start dictating to you. So they're in command and you're on your knees and going, please give me your business. Yeah. And it mustn't be that way. It must be, this is what I offer. This is what it is. Would you like it? Yes or no? Okay. If no, what is the challenge? What is the issue around it? And 9 out of 10 times, yeah, it's a price. Well, remember I add value. Remember, this is what I deliver. You can gladly go out there and compare that. Okay. Don't allow them to get in control. So here's a cycle that happens. The more we over-deliver, the more the client expects. And this is a big problem in lots of businesses, especially new businesses. So Teresa and Andrea, okay? Don't go out there and promise the world and deliver the world for a handful. Okay. If you're offering a handful, you deliver the handful, they pay for the handful. Okay, be careful there. Be careful we don't feel stretched because you overcompensate for what you're doing. Often we get into a position where we just go so far with somebody. They want a car. We deliver a Porsche, and all they wanted was a Toyota Yaris. Okay. Undercharge because you're overgiving again. And then the cycle begins all over again. Okay. Cycles continue until you interrupt it. Remember that. You have the right to interrupt it at any stage today. Over-delivering is not generosity if it comes from self-abandonment. Let that sink in a little bit. Because what you're doing then is you're actually disrespecting your own self. It's interesting. I had a guy contact me on LinkedIn yesterday. And he had obviously gone through my profile on LinkedIn, but only went so far. He didn't keep going and read everything. And he's a coach and he's trying to get me as a client. And he misread everything. And I thought to myself, I don't normally reply to these people, but I'm going to reply to him. And I wrote him this long paragraph. And I mentioned to him, you know, when you do research on somebody, maybe you should go a little bit deeper and find what's really there. So I really went in there and overcompensated for everything he was trying to sell me. Okay. But it was for my own good. So be careful. Okay. Sometimes we do stuff out of the wrong emotion. This was done almost to make myself feel good. Okay. So that had a whole internal thing, which made him change his sales pitch back to me this morning. Okay. So I basically gave him a lesson on, you know, what to do and what not to do. And how, if you're going to approach somebody, at least understand the facts before you approach them. Okay. So let's look at this way. Where you in your business are? Where in your business are you? Sorry for misreading that one. Are you doing more than is agreed? Yeah, some people say that's a good thing. Yeah. There's that saying, under promise and over deliver. We've all heard that before. Okay. That doesn't count here. That is referred to deadline. Nothing else. That is only deadline. I'll have it for you by next week, Friday, and you deliver it on Thursday. That's what that is. That's not now doing more than agreed. If they want a pink dinosaur with purple spots that is 30 centimeters high, you deliver them a pink dinosaur with purple spots that is 30 centimeters high. Okay. Not purple and yellow spots. Give them access you didn't define. What does that mean? Let's have a go at that.
Would that be them messaging you at 11 o'clock or phoning you and being like, I've got a problem with this, when your business hours are X, but you didn't state that clearly enough?
Yeah. That's a good one. What else could it be?
Was it access to your resources?
Be access to your resources. It's access to you. That's what it's about. and you are a resource. So that was also right. But yeah, you know, you have to define your availability. You have to define how we work together. You have to define what is allowed and what's not allowed. Okay. I mean, Jim, you can't have the builder, Tyler, contacting you.
Yes, the moment you described it, the penny dropped. And very often you want to just, you've got your strategic time and you've got your implementation time, and you don't want people interfering you while you're at a strategic level or in a strategic mind frame. So you've got to keep your client at a distance. And also you don't want to get too into, as you say, like with the subcontractors, you don't want to get yourself too arms, elbows deep in the job.
Yeah.
It's not your business to be so involved with the job. You've got to do what you agreed to do and stay out of the nuts and bolts and day-to-day problems that might be happening on site or um, in a process of some sort.
One of the greatest classics is, as a manager in a business, is saying, my office door is always open. Okay, I'm sure you've all heard that many times before. Manager will say, my office door is always open. Go into their office and interrupt them and see what response you get. Okay, because they're not defining what they really mean. It's the same as, people want to book a meeting with you, and you spend the next half an hour trying to find a date and time that works with both of you. No problem. You want to meet with me? Here's the link to my diary. Find a spot. There we go. As easy as that. Don't sit there and go, how's Thursday at 2 o'clock, Friday at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, back and forth, back and forth. No. Okay. Giving access you didn't define, but it goes back to you. Okay. How often do we add extras to make it worth it? Start sounding like, but that's not all. If you buy today, I will throw in this. Okay, in the meantime, you were going to get it anyway. Okay, but yeah, you know what I mean? Don't go and overdo it. Don't go and overcreate it. Okay, because all you're doing is you're overwhelming yourself. If you want to add that in, well, then sell it as a separate thing. Okay, any questions there? Be honest with yourself here. We're not going to fix anything yet. I know that there's thoughts going through your heads and you're feeling guilty about certain things as we were discussing this, but that's good. Okay, because that means it's important. Because if you're not feeling, then you're not giving it enough thought yet. So now comes the work time. 3 areas that you've identified, okay, where you're over delivering. I want you to write them down. Think about them as well. Then ask yourself, what am I afraid of will happen if I stop? If I stop delivering that, what will happen? Give you some time on this. Not nice, hey? But it's good because that means there are things. All right, I'm not going to put you on the spot just yet. Guys, okay, we're ready to carry on. George and Jim seem like they're really busy, and so does Teresa, so we'll give them a couple of more minutes. We're done. Okay, cool. Looks like everyone's done. So, behind every over-delivering pattern, there's a belief. They'll leave if I don't do more. Or I'll lose them if they don't do more. Okay. This needs to feel like a lot to justify the pricing. I don't want to disappoint them. How does that feel? True, eh? How often are we feeling that? So, here's the reality. Clients don't respect versus what they respect. You guys will do a screenshot of this when I'm done. They don't respect over complaining. I explain, not complaining. Yeah, that too. Over explaining. They don't respect the over giving. As when you give them more than what they're paid for, they don't respect it. They don't respect you over adjusting what you really offered them. Okay, what they do respect. Clarity. It's clear of what they're getting. That you're consistent in what you promised and what you're delivering. Not highs and lows. Be consistent. Rather be consistently bad at something than sometimes good, sometimes bad. At least then we know what to fix. They will respect you for your confidence, your belief in yourself, your belief in what you're doing. Yes, we all have bad days some days. Okay? And we have a client and I'm really not in a good mood today. But you know what? You have to put your game face on and get into it. You can't allow them to see your lack of confidence for that day. To be a good entrepreneur, you have to be a good leader. And leading doesn't always mean people. Leading means your clients, your problems, your life, everything that you have to lead to go forward with. So leaders don't chase validation. They don't overfunction for others. In other words, doing the work that others should be doing. They don't carry unclear expectations. Anybody want to share an example?
Well, I had something this week because what I do, websites, people pay maybe hosting and support, but it's basic support. They know how to change it. Sometimes I'll say to them, I don't worry if you're stuck with anything, I'll do it. But some people did take advantage of that. So that's one thing I learned, be very, very clear. But on one, my nephew, who he actually, he's got a friend, they're doing barter, so he's doing updates and things for him. But we had a massive problem this week when the site appeared with big red danger signs, not safe and all that. And I was in a right panic. I thought that was all my sites down, but it was just his site, nobody else's. And I said to him, well, that's something to do with the plugins. You've got to get back to your guy. This is what you have to do. You have to do it. And they did a lot themselves, to be fair, because I said to him, I would have to charge you something like about £60 an hour to do all that. So it's your responsibility. You deal with it. And if you're stuck, I can get my guy. And he did a lot. In the end, he still has to pay something, but I told him he'll be charged. I have to get my guy to do final things. We've got the sort of problem solved. But a few years ago, I might have just got out of the way and thought, oh, I can't charge him this, I can't charge him that. I just told him straight what he had to do. So that I suppose answers your question about unclear expectations. I told them what to expect, and I told them that it will be charged if I have to do anything at the end, but it wouldn't be as much as it would have cost originally.
Well done. Cool. So what do great leaders do? They define it. They decide. They hold the line. Exactly what you did, George. You defined it. You decided. You said, holding the line. If you want that, you will pay more. How often do we say, not a problem, I can do that? Without saying, sure, I can do that, but it will be an additional charge. Because unless we say it will be an additional charge, they're going to say, sure. I'm expecting that now. Okay, so you're not fixing everything. What you are doing is noticing patterns, your behavior, patterns in the way you present, patterns in the way you offer, patterns in the way you communicate. You're now starting to name some of those fears that you've got. Now we need to start interrupting one behavior. So that's what we're doing. We're interrupting that one behavior. And that is enough. Because it all starts one step at a time, doesn't it? So notice the pattern. What is the reason it's happening? That fear? Well, now interrupt it, challenge it. Why am I doing that? What am I scared of? When you interrupt it, well, you're challenging it, you're holding it, you're saying, well, wait a minute. And you will fix it. Be careful you don't fall back on it. So this week, 3 things. 1, identify 3 over-delivery patterns. 2, name the fear behind each one of those 3 patterns. And 3, choose one to stop or reduce. So though we are identifying 3, we're identifying what the fear is behind it. I only want you to choose one to stop or reduce it. Okay, so that's not an overwhelming situation. Okay, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed this week. Keep it practical, simple and practical. Because often we can go down, especially those who use things like ChatGPT, you can really go and make it complicated. Don't, just keep it simple, please. Read that to yourselves. Where am I trying to earn my worth through effort? Note, my worth. You are worthy already. So why are you trying to earn it? You don't need to take more to be taken serious. You need to just be clearer. This is what I offer. This is what you get. This is what you pay for. Not and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and I'll do that. This is what I offer, which includes the following. This is how it'll be delivered to you. It'll cost you X. Not, yeah, I think we can do that. Yeah, we could possibly change it for you. That's what I offer. That's what you get. So this is not becoming rigid. Okay? Doesn't mean you must now be hard asses. It's about becoming intentional. Next week, we'll go back onto boundaries and brave conversations. So this week may be a little bit shorter, but I'm sure it's challenged you on a lot. Okay. Let's go around the room. Understand. What are you taking away from today?
Well, the funny thing for me is that I've been doing exactly what you're telling me to do next week for the last 2 weeks. And I could give you lots of examples. I gave you one with that thing, and this guy that was talking about with the website they've got a meeting with at 1 o'clock today. When I asked him what his budget was, he says £500, and I says, "Well, you've got absolutely no chance. You're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. I wouldn't even consider. It wouldn't be any benefit to any of us." So I gave him an 3 or 4 times that would be an absolute minimum. So now I'm going back to him today. I've been feeding him stuff and showing him the value of what I'm saying, and I know he's excited. So the crunch will be today when I see him, but I'm fully confident that I can justify the value. But if he only wants to pay, he won't be paying £500. The minimum he'll be paying is £1,800. But I'll tell him what he'll get for that and be very clear about it.
Yeah, be very clear. But what's interesting, George, that tells me that this program is working because your mind's going ahead of me. Okay, so it's awesome. Thank you. Tells me it's working. Makes me really chuffed. Cool. Who else wants to share?
Okay, I'll comment on what I've written versus what you've followed up on, because I tend to go into detail too quickly, too soon, too so the client not ready for the perfect detail, whereas he just wanted a sketch. I don't know any other way of doing it but my way. So to try and step back from putting a perfect drawing together, which all he wanted was a sketch, and my sketch is basically the finished job. So somehow I've got to trace back on that, and that is maybe just the way I do things. I don't have a drawing board and I don't work with pens and pencils anymore, so a sketch doesn't come through as convincing. At least then I know I've thought of things. So yeah, I think there's a lot of
You don't need to go and cut it all
stepping
the way
back on
down.
that.
Okay, you don't need to go and chop it all off. Okay, and just give them a quick little 5-second sketch. No, but I think what you need to understand and what's coming through from you now is I'm over delivering on just it's like somebody quotes for I want to get a quote on the car, and you go and prepare the car for delivery.
Not quite that much, but yes, you're on the right track. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because there's no guarantee. And so we want to go and over impress them. Here's my sketch. Can you imagine what the whole thing will look like? You know what I mean? So be careful.
It's just where to stop, because also you get into a flow, you start designing something, and now you want to see the finished thing yourself, instead of just saying, well, we need to talk fees before we get into that level of detail. Yeah.
Exactly. And you're doing all the work without potentially even earning anything for it. Cool. Good. Teresa. Oh, sorry, Andrew, you were about to open your mouth. Go for it.
So your course has definitely been working, because as I've been finishing up the back end, I've done the contract, I've stipulated certain things, and I'm like, this is my responsibility, that's your responsibility, and if not, then this, da 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 da. So it's definitely been working. I'm not currently over delivering because I've just finished everything and I don't have anyone to over deliver to, but it's given me a sense of confidence this week and going, I know what I provide, I know where the line is, and I know that if this, I have the self-trust to, when the situation comes up, I can stress test my systems, and I'm not afraid as I was 6 weeks ago when I started with you. So it's a heck of a difference.
Beautiful.
So yes, I'm happy.
Awesome. Okay, Teresa, we'll come to you now.
So I think with us and working with parents and stuff, I think I'm over delivering where I don't have a time limit. If they phone me 6 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, I'm available, and I don't set boundaries to say, listen, this is not working. I'm just always there. And I think that's my biggest problem at the moment, because I'll jump up and quickly run because maybe it's a potential customer.
Be careful, because that's the danger we walk into. That's the expectations you'll be delivering. Okay. And you can't, let's be real, you can't be doing things at 10 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, some of us are, but you can't be taking calls from clients at the weekend. Might say to you, I'm available, especially when it's working parents, okay, because they're doing this outside of their work. Okay. You say, right, I'll take calls between 6 and 8. You know what I mean? So not a problem. You can call me between 6 and 8. Put those boundaries in place now. Okay. Otherwise, you'll be on holiday and they'll phone you at 10 o'clock at night. Okay. They'll phone you at 10 o'clock on a Sunday. You're probably asleep and they'll phone you. Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening. We're clearing calls on Sundays. I mean, on Easter, there were no, it's never ending. And if you don't answer the email straight away, they'll call you.
Okay. So put a message on your emails. Okay. Put a message on your WhatsApp status. Put a message on, my office hours are. Okay. Put it in place. You've got to set those foundations now. Otherwise, you wipe your eyes out 12 months later, okay, and you will have burnt out. And you're going to go, I burnt out and I didn't make the money I thought I made. Okay. Odette.
Clarity, just be clearer, came through for me.
Yeah. Be clear on what you deliver. Okay. It's so important. I mean, I say to everybody, you can message me, I won't answer you after a certain hour. And if you send me a voice note during the day, guess what? You won't get a response from me until the end of the day. Simple as that, because I can't see what it's about. Okay, yes, on WhatsApp, there's now transcribed voice note. But I don't have the time to go and sit there and now transcribe. Easy as that. Okay. It's quick, it's easy, and it's simple. George yesterday sent me a quick message. Are you available for a call? Yep, for only 10 minutes. Now, had he sent me a voice note for that, I will only listen to it about 8 o'clock. Okay, this is easy there. Okay, go and do this and go identify it. Get rid of those fears, those false impressions appearing real or false expectations appearing real, fears. Okay. Look at the one where you've got those bad habits in there, okay, or patterns, bad patterns, or incorrect patterns, maybe is a better way of saying it. And go and look at how you can stop or improve that one. Or reduce, not improve, reduce. All right, awesome. Have a fantastic week. I'll send the recordings and the notes, etc., as usual. Have a good one.
Cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.